Hello everybody, so thought we would go over one of the Hanson versus Predator people, Jeff Sokol, that you can see on your screen. I've had a look at the footage briefly, it's quite interesting. So I thought we'd go over it because I don't often do these sort of analysis of new Predators before, but you know, this kind of footage that you're about to see, in case you haven't already, it's really interesting viewing, I think, for many reasons which we'll go into. So here we have, I pretty much think this is the uncut footage, which is pretty cool. Let's crack on, shall we?
Coming this way. Sorry about that. Come on.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Did you find the house okay?
No, because it's really dark out. So.
How long did it take you to get here?
I don't know, it took 2.5 hours.
That's a long drive.
Yeah, you're not kidding. 2.5 hours. It always kind of interests me that when they say how long they've driven, it's such an indicator of how desperate these people were, and you know, like any kind of hint that they might have had second thoughts. Of course, we know that that's mainly not the case. It's just not happened, has it? You're like 2.5 hours to mull it over and think about it, and you still turn up with whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I've got a pretty good feeling she's gonna diss it.
I'm really nervous.
Oh, you're giving me a hug?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'll settle into it.
You see, it's kind of like, and before anybody fucking whinges in the comments about me pausing it all the time, because whenever I do these videos, someone whinges and goes, I start pausing it because I want to watch it. This is an analysis video, okay? Just so you know. There's always fucking one jackass, isn't there? Stop pausing the video. Well, it's an analysis. Anyway.
So, kind of pitchy batches.
Oh.
What's interesting about this is that she is very different. The decoy, who I believe he believes he's called Bailey, she acts quite differently to what Casey Moreau would. She's the kind of poster girl, if you will, for decoys, famous for many reasons, within the Predatorverse, of course. She's kind of, one could say, been there for the most famous Predators, and she was very, very good at what she did. There wasn't a hint. It was like she was just being herself and she wasn't acting. This girl here is clearly, it's like she's doing some kind of play. She's playing the role, where Casey was just kind of being herself. There was no kind of acting, if you get what I mean. But this girl is, and it's a little bit transparent.
The small pizza is like almost as big as the big one. So I didn't know that. Like you said small, I thought it'd be like a really small one.
Yeah.
I said big one. So it's pretty good.
It's just the way he's not very perceptive, this guy. Yeah, because the thing is, you can see it in a body language, and I'm not just saying this in retrospect. On a personal level, I'm pretty good at reading people and their in circumstances like this, you know, sussing people out and trusting me in speaking. That's just because I'm, you know, sort of communication, dealing with people's is one of my strengths. Hence why I do these videos. He's not a people person. My estimation from this is that his people skills are not very good. He's not very good at reading her. If you remember from To Catch a Predator, when some of the predators went into the room and the decoy was acting strangely, they would immediately suss that something wasn't right, and they'd be like, they couldn't quite grasp what it was. They weren't able to successfully come up with a definitive conclusion of what was going on, but they knew that something was off. and the gut feeling was, right, I need to get out of it. This guy's totally fucking oblivious. You know, he's just not reading the signals at all from her.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
Of course, she's going to be nervous, but it's just the mannerisms.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I am. I'm fine.
I've just never done this before.
I know.
Have you?
No, not really.
But it's a difficult situation for these decoys. I'm not trying to be hard on her as a acting skills, shall we say, but you know, to be in that situation that she's in, faced with these guys and having to put on a ruse, you know, it's a high pressure situation because everything hinges on it, doesn't it, really? I mean, not everything, because they're going to get done anyway, but her successfully getting information out of him is going to help the case strongly. There's, you know, a lot of money been spent on all this. She's been hired, she's been paid as an actress. Difficult situation, all that into consideration, and you've got this guy in there with her, and there will be an element of danger. You know, of course, there's security in the back. You know, it's not, but there is, you know, it's not, certainly nothing's going to happen, but there is always that element of danger. Always a slight element that he just might go nuts and fucking bang her head or whatever, you know what I mean?
I mean...
Are you telling me the truth?
I mean, I've met girls online, but I don't, come, this far to, meet someone. I don't know why
It's kind of crazy, huh?
It is crazy, yeah. Why did you let me come? If you're so nervous.
So he has kind of picked up on that there's something wrong, but he's not able to... He's just not able to really realise, or he's not got any grasp that it's bad for him. He's still there. You know, if he really thought something bad was going to happen, like it was a setup, it would seem that thought hasn't really entered his brain at this point, because if it did and she was acting strangely and you thought at some point it was a stitch up, you'd fucking immediately leave, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
It seems like a good idea, and you seem nice.
He's thinking about it, isn't he? Something's starting to tick over in his brain.
Why do you think I came?
It's a very straight... You see what I mean? It's like her mannerisms then. It's very... You can see through it. Obviously, like I said, it's easy for us to say now. We're looking at it through cameras and looking very closely at her behaviour, but he should be able to tell that she's not behaving like she should do. He has picked up on it, but he's too numb. He's not very good at grasping the situation, is he? You would think that he'd be on higher alert, considering the danger that he's putting himself in on many levels.
I know.
It's not the only reason. It's not the reason.
What's the reason?
I'm not just, been talking to you for a while, and you seem really cool to hang out with, and someone that I'd like to meet, and
She's looking around the room now. He's really getting nervous, and he's trying to. It's like, he's trying to figure out his surroundings. It's survival, isn't it? It's like, I'm in a bad potentially he's in a bad situation here. Where am I? What am I going to do? It's just a natural instinctive survival tactic, isn't it? Scope out your surroundings.
Wanted to check out the situation,
See what I mean?
Here we are.
Yeah.
He knows something's wrong, but he isn't smart enough to leave.
So...
And it's took him a while to really start to get his head around it.
Let's deal with this whole contract thing, because I'm just going to be thinking about it the whole time.
So there's something in the chat log which I'm going to go over in another video where he mentions something about, Chris Hansen will talk about it shortly, but he mentions something about drawing up some kind of contract, some kind of marriage contract or something. We'll find out more about that later.
Let's eat and we can talk about it.
Okay. There's plates behind you if you want to grab one.
Huh?
There's plates behind you if you want to grab one. Do you want a water or anything?
Thing is, as well, what I will say is, when you're a guy, if there's one thing that's going to cloud your judgment and make you behave irrationally, and maybe your instincts won't allow you to take over, it's having a pretty face in front of you, and she's a good-looking girl,
No. Okay. Man, well, I got this for in case we want
Alright,
to
I'll grab a water.
Alright, it will help. You want to eat at the table? What do you want to do?
No, you can just eat here.
He's got like a sinister look about him, hasn't he?
I mean,
That
it's
smile.
I
He's a
expected
bit
it
like
to
the
be like
Grinch.
2.5 hours. So,
You're from the Boston area, you said?
yeah. Can I wash my hand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have some family that lives up there. It's pretty nice.
Do you?
Yeah, I've been to Faneuil Hall.
Where's your family? Like, what part of Boston?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Boston's so confusing.
Tell me about
It's
it.
wicked confusing.
Okay.
Even someone I know got lost in Boston in his familiar surroundings, but anyway.
I'm sorry. I'll try to be cool.
Oh, it's okay.
We'll work on it.
I mean, you look great.
Thanks.
You just look different than what than like in the pictures. I don't
Oh, you old charmer, you.
know. Maybe I don't know. I expected you to have dark hair. Did you?
My hair it lightens up in the summer.
Hang on a minute. He's picked up on the fact that she's overly nervous. There's a lot of warning signs there. She doesn't look the same, and he's still like questioning what's going on.
And no, I'm not saying. I mean, I think you look
don't
great.
like it?
I think you look great. I'm just saying, like you look different, than I thought.
Yeah.
But no, nothing wrong with
Well, you
that.
never can tell with online things,
What about me? Do I look different?
I mean, you look different. I'm not saying better or worse, just different.
Alright.
I have cupcakes too, if you want one.
Let's see. Did you make them?
Look at those. Do you think I made those? Mm-mm.
I have no idea.
No.
Do you want to use plates or do you want to just eat?
Whatever you want. We're pretty casual here.
Okay.
I'm like too nervous to eat.
Well, you already ate, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
I was wondering if you were gonna be like, how would you be? Like, would you be nervous? Would you be like totally like you've done this before?
Oh, definitely haven't done this before.
Like, I don't know. You just seemed very, very like. You didn't seem nervous at all when I talked to you, and just in
Well,
general.
it's different when you're talking to someone online versus like
person.
coming to their house and meeting them.
I know. I just gotta take something.
There was a bit of I've done a bit of digging, and there was a bit of uncertainty as to actually what this was. You would think that he's taking some kind of a sexual stimulant, but it was supposedly some kind of treatment.
This isn't drugs. It's just a.
Yeah, no, by all means. Here, drink water.
It's something that I take before I eat. Thanks.
In the middle of it all, Sokol pulls out a...
Skip over that bit.
What kind of pizza we have tonight?
Who's this?
I'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, your worst nightmare, pal.
Who are you?
Who are you?
You tell me first. You're Jeff, right?
Yeah.
And what are you doing here tonight, Jeff?
Hanging out
Hanging out.
Yeah.
With whom?
with her.
Who's her?
I want to know who you are.
I want to know a little bit more about you first.
Can I eat first?
Sure, go ahead.
This is kind of a strange situation. He doesn't yet seem to have figured out exactly what's going on, which is very odd if you think about all the dynamics that have taken place so far. I think it's one of the most interesting parts of the whole TCAP's world and all the footage that I've seen before and all the analysis. I love the exchange between the Predators and Hansen. This is an interesting one, He doesn't really understand what's going on yet. Who are you? He's obviously going to suspect at this point. But I think that there's like a shock element, and it depends on how many confrontational situations you've been in before, how well you handle stress, that kind of stuff.
Tell me who you are, because, I didn't know there would be other people here.
Well, what did you expect to happen here tonight, Jeff?
Didn't have any expectations.
No expectation.
You see, that's changed things a little bit when he's asked that question. The way he looked at him then is like, oh, what did you expect to happen? It's like, right, okay. His mind's starting to go a little bit further down the line. He's starting to figure things out as he goes. But I think the pizza thing, him eating the pizza, it's just like he's trying to maintain grace under pressure. That sort of old, if you think about like a duck that's floating on the water and it looks so peaceful and graceful, but yet underneath its legs are flapping like fuck. You know what I mean? I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to maintain an aura of confidence.
Expectations whatsoever.
No.
So you drove 2.5 hours
Sure did.
from Boston.
Yeah, and it's like, sure did. It's like, yeah, I drove 2.5 hours. What's the problem? It's like defiance at this point. It's pointless because he's in a no-win situation. But, of course, he's not figured it all out yet. And he's not just going to voluntarily say, he's not going to come clean. Some do, but he's not.
Who are you?
To come here
Are you her dad?
to meet a young girl.
Are you her
I
dad?
will get to that in a minute. Go ahead, have a bite.
Wow. I haven't done anything wrong.
How old are you?
What does it matter?
I'd like to know.
It's quite a bit of aggression there as well, isn't there, in the way that he's responding. It's like, he's quite an angry guy, I get the impression. Bit of arrogance coming through as well. It kind of reminds me of the Jeff Clancy one a little bit. Not quite as bad as that.
I haven't done anything wrong. Coming to meet somebody? What's wrong? What is that against
Coming
the
to
law?
meet a young girl?
Yeah, is that against the law?
You did.
He's even, the anger's coming out. He's even frustrated that somebody's got the audacity to question what he's doing. It's quite interesting.
Is after this chat.
How?
Did you bring some kind of a contract with you? Some sort of marriage contract? Let's see if any of this sounds familiar while you enjoy your pizza. I should come see you on Saturday. Well, since your mom isn't home, it's the best time to do it. I would, but only if you want me to.
I'm really surprised that more people. It's quite kind of a funny way to pause. Look at his face. Just cracks me up, that image there. I'm surprised that not every bloke knows who Chris Hansen is. I know America is. I know America's a huge place, but man, I mean, this was like, he was a household name and face not long ago, but yet he's totally oblivious. Are you a father?
You say, I can't go to jail. My life would be ruined.
Right.
Could be locked up for 20 years.
Yep.
And then you say, do you trim your blank?
Okay.
Now you know that this girl is 13, right?
Wasn't sure.
She's told you.
No. That doesn't
And you're what, 37?
mean anything.
You're 37? How old are you? You might as well just tell me, because I can find out like that.
Who are you? Can you tell me who you are first?
I will tell you that in a minute.
Because now you're making me nervous, and
You're 44 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? As a 44-year-old guy, I shouldn't be talking to 13-year-old girls like this. Yet I want to. What am I supposed to make of that? Sorry, I'm paranoid. For meeting...
Oh, the pizza's been put back. Things are getting a little bit difficult now. It's like, oof,
No, potentially
fight
having
or
sex.
flight mode. See, his whole demeanour has changed a little bit now. The smirk has gone. The arrogance has gone. It's starting to really hit home to him what the situation is now, the trouble that he could be in. before his arrogance protected him, but now it's starting to break down a little bit.
But that is where the breaking the law comes from.
Right.
I think at this point, that look there, let's just go back a little bit.
No, potentially having sex. But that is where the breaking the law comes from.
That look there, when he said that's where breaking the law comes from, he's starting to realise he thinks he's a cop at this point. And that's why the arrogance has disappeared, because he knows that if this is a cop, he's fucked completely. If he's got a copy of the chat log in front of him. His arrogance may return, because you'll go through stages, so let's see.
Right.
Punishable.
And it was just a kind of submissive word, that, right, no, the tone in his voice went down, there was no defence, it was like, right.
To 20 years.
Yeah. See what I mean? Everything has changed. It's a little bit, it's a little bit like the picture of Lorne, isn't it? Where you've got him laughing and then suddenly everything changes. With him, look at that face now. That's why these videos and these type of exchanges are so interesting. Is that you are seeing somebody's life destroyed. There's no getting over this. Your life's changed forever. And of course, there's a part of us, if not the majority of why we find it entertaining, is that we see justice being served.
Did you bring condoms with you tonight?
Well, they plan on having sex.
Do you have...
So, of course, he knows, or should I say he thinks he knows, that Chris Hansen is a cop. Now he's accepted that in his brain, he's going to have to start defending himself. So, of course, I wasn't going to do anything. That's what most people will do in that situation. There's not that many. I can't think of any off the top of my head apart from Donald Morrison, who just come out clean with it, and maybe that the cleanest, best pleasure is a fantasy of mine.
Them in your
Yes,
car?
sir.
No,
I'm going to find out, so you might as well tell me now.
I don't. Go ahead, check the car.
You will never tell anyone about us having sex.
I think he 100% believes he's a cop. For him to say, just go and check the car, thinks he does look like he looks like a swerve detective, Chris Hansen, in my opinion. Especially, he's reading from the chat log as well. He's got these pages in front of him. He's thinking, shit, how the fuck has he got hold of them?
Are you sure? Okay, I could be there Saturday afternoon. Explain. Explain it to me.
Just wanted to come hang out and...
It looks like here you wanted to come here and have sex with a 13-year-old girl.
Okay, is that against the law to
They have sex with a 13-year-old girl when you're 44? Yes, it's against the law.
to meet a girl. That's all I've done.
You see how this looks.
Okay, but do you also see that I was pretty apprehensive about the whole sex thing?
Well, wouldn't you be? Wouldn't anybody be if they're
Right.
going to try to have sex with a 13-year-old girl?
To be honest with you, you're not going to believe me, but I don't know who you are, but I'm sure you're law enforcement. But
You think I'm law enforcement?
well, I mean, that's what it sounds like. I was thinking about this on the way down,
Right. You had 2.5 hours to think about it.
and and I wasn't gonna. I'm not gonna risk it.
He's completely changed, hasn't he? He's become a broken man almost in the space of a couple of minutes. Before it was arrogance and, posterity, and he's kind of like, he's not. But, that's disappeared and it's given way to fear, of realisation of what his situation is. He's done something that he knows. He babbling on about that marriage, and even mentioned in the chat that there was like 20 years that he could get. He knows. He's not been very smart at all, but he knows what the situation is. It's just interesting to see how he's completely changed, and that smugness and arrogance and I wouldn't say prosperity as in like he was totally like peaceful, but he was trying to remain, like I said earlier, he was trying to have that aura of sort of peace about him, that he couldn't be touched. It's like what are you doing spoiling me?
That's what I said.
It's not normal for a 44-year-old guy to drive 2.5 hours to hang out with a 13-year-old girl.
I wanted to hang out, see how she was, see if...
A 13-year-old girl? How often do you do this sort of thing?
Never done it.
You've never done it. So tonight you just decided, okay, I'm going to drive 2.5 hours down I-95 from Boston
Yeah, been talking to her
to this
for a little
house.
You see, now it's interesting. The pizza's come out again. The arrogance is not necessarily there. His cockiness. He's trying to fake a little bit of cockiness here. He's going for the pizza again. It's like, oh, it's no big deal. Of course I didn't. He's trying to make Chris Hansen think that it's just, that it's all a little bit of a misunderstanding. He wasn't going to do anything. He's sure about his innocence, so therefore he's not worried. I can eat my pizza. I can,
while, and she seemed cool to hang out with. I mean, what the heck?
Can't find
What's the
any
big deal?
I had nothing else.
older girls?
I can, but I had nothing else going on.
So you decided you just come out and hang out with a 13-year-old girl?
Yeah, you can clearly...
He's not going to be able to get through much of that pizza, I guarantee it, because his physiology is going to have changed that much where he's in kind of shock, really, and it won't amount for eating at that amount of time.
You can clearly see that I'm very apprehensive about both.
Let's say we meet and really like each other and want to continue seeing each other. How would we do this? Like I said, as long as you're under 16, age of consent, parenthetically, nobody can know about it. I just can't take that chance. What it sounds like here is you're grooming her, testing her to make sure it would be okay if you had sex with her, so no one would find out.
To be honest with you, like I said, when I was on the way down,
Right.
I was thinking about the whole thing, and even before I left,
Right.
I was thinking, I'm not going to have sex with her unless it's legal.
So you talk about a plan to make it legal, to marry her, right?
Yeah, not in 2 seconds. I mean, like,
So if you liked her, like next week or the week after, you'd marry a
no,
13-year-old girl.
not next week. No.
So after just a few days worth of chatting, you decide you love her?
No,
You want to have sex with her?
I don't know.
You want to marry her? What do you mean you don't know she's 13?
I don't know. I was just throwing things out, like, just in case, maybe I did like her. Maybe it was,
So then you'd marry a 13-year-old girl.
You see, now he's kind of he's starting to fall apart. Like any kind of cohesive story or defense, it's not. It's just there's just no logic at all. I was just throwing things out there. Oh yeah, to see if I liked it. What? See if you liked a 13-year-old? Nothing's standing up, and how could it? He's falling on his own sword.
Because she's really cool and you could have sex.
After a while, if it worked out, yeah.
After a while.
Yeah.
What, like 3 years of dating?
I don't know.
A romantic courtship?
Maybe.
Maybe. So you're cool with all this. You just think this is just fine. Marching here to this home.
I know what you're.
Well, what
Getting at-
what else am I supposed to think, Jeff?
He's getting quite angry as well, isn't he, Chris? Like he's done this in TCAT before, which he gets, he gets personally sort of involved in it, where he's kind of, righteousness comes to the surface. Of course, I'm pretty sure it would with everybody, but he kind of like gets personally invested in it, doesn't he?
Do I seem like a dishonest, dirty person? I mean,
What? Sorry, dude, but fucking yes.
do I seem like it to you?
This chat seems like it. It seems like someone who at 44 years old.
Chat is chat.
Chat is chat, but showing up is showing up. And guess what, Jeff? You showed up. At a home where you knew a 13-year-old girl would be alone. After a sexually charged conversation online. You come in, oh, I want to hug you. The little girl
And now he's being a bit patronising, isn't he?
is nervous. You do it with everybody.
Yeah.
You do that every time you meet a 13-year-old girl.
I do it when I meet somebody for the first time. I hug them.
But this somebody is not an adult, Jeff. She's 13.
Please tell me who you are.
I'll tell you what.
I'm trying to be nice here.
Okay.
I'm
So am I. But you're not.
He's trying to be nice. Does that imply Because he does appear to have a sinister nature to me. Does that imply there's a side of him which could get nasty, violent even?
Answering all my questions.
I will. Can you just tell me who you are?
I'm Chris Hansen, and this is an investigation called Hansen versus Predator. So if there's anything else you want people to know, anything you want to say, now would be a good time to say it.
I can't believe this is happening.
Did you bring any sort of a marriage contract?
No.
So what was all that talk about?
I don't want to talk anymore.
You can leave.
On camera.
You can leave.
What do you mean I can leave?
You can leave.
And then what?
That's not up to me.
Who's it up to?
So, one could certainly surmise from this that he's never seen To Catch a Predator in any form before. He still doesn't really know what's going on. He obviously knows now that there's a television company here. But when he was like, I can leave, he thought that this was the end game. He was going to get locked up. So there's a part of him now that thinks he's going to go outside and just go home, and then it'll be put on TV, and then that'll be the end of it. He'll get humiliated. It's, you know.
It's not up to me. You didn't have to come here, did you?
Realization is just very difficult for him to accept at this point, isn't it? You know, it's just everything. I can't even comprehend what that must be like. I mean, of course, they don't deserve sympathy. It's not a sympathetic standpoint that I'm looking at. It's kind of like, you know, trying the emotions and everything they're feeling.
What do you do for a living, John?
I don't want to talk anymore. There's
Insurance business, right?
cameras rolling.
Insurance?
I don't want to talk anymore.
All right. As I said, you're free to leave.
Can you shut it off?
I cannot shut it off now.
I mean, what is this?
It's an investigation for a television program called Hansen versus Predator, where we investigate grown people who go online and try to create inappropriate, illegal relationships with underage children. So unless you have something else to say, now would be a good time to go.
I don't have anything else to say.
All right, then. You can take your pizza if you like.
You want a slice?
I'm good.
You can take the pizza. Would you like a slice? You can have the pizza, whatever. It's a little bit. I think it's a little bit of his arrogance. That it's like he's trying to. I don't know. It's like he's trying to take the piss a little bit.
Thank you very much.
So the cops here?
We'll see.
Okay. Or the
I would say that's a yes, dude.
if they're here, just bring them in.
It'd be best if you went out that way.
Grab a jacket.
Just out for the garage.
Everybody's watching. Come on out. Let's go.
Game over.
Sokol was sentenced to 7 years.
Okay, so, oh, that's professionalism for you. So that was kind of an interesting little video, wasn't it? So as you can see, 10 years as a sex offender. Wonder what would happen after those 10 years. It's hard to believe that would be the end of it. Very strange. So 2.5 years in jail, but I believe that was it was suspended. So there was 10 years in prison, suspended after 30 months. So obviously there's going to be many conditions with regard to him being a sex offenders registry. You know, the special classes that they attend and whatnot, and all the things that they've got to adhere to. So you know, let's see what happens to this guy. What I might do as well is go over the police interrogation, because I believe that is available. So that's that's pretty cool. So basically, yeah, that. Let me know if you have enjoyed it, guys. Yeah, so I must kind of thank the footage that I got for this was from a channel called Walls. If you want to check that out, if you can look for the uncut footage. So I must thank that person. The channel is just called Walls. So that's pretty cool. So guys, thank you very much. Leave any comments, let me know, and I'll speak to you soon.